G'day everyone, back with some more FGO after a bit of a break, stream break at least. As you can see, the event is very nearly over. However, we've done all we can do in it. The shop, as you can see, is cleaned out, and all 3 points ladders are well over 1 million each now. And of course, this account isn't eligible for the challenge quest, which is this. However, there's good news, as the next event will be starting just as soon as this one ends. So no breaks, no rest for the wicked, as it were. We hop right back into the action once that begins. And of course, going to get us a lovely single target saber welfare servant in that, which is going to be very useful. Even my main can really use a good single target saber that's not named Bedivere. As for us, this stream, well, as the title may have tipped you off, we're going to start exploring America a bit. At least until the next event starts. Let's see, I'm just attempting to remember. I don't think anything's really changed in our party since the last time. Who's our first fully ascended max level 3-star. We're still unable to send Ushi for a bit, unfortunately. And she has to be fully ascended to get her 3rd skill, because lol, game day 1 servant. And of course, we're still quite away from being able to fully ascend Sidonai, but she's perfectly fine at 80 for now. She has access to her 4 kit. She'll just be missing out at 1000 or so attack and HP, roughly. And of course, as you can see, we've been slowly chipping away at getting him up to 70. But when it comes to ascending, he too will be quite a ways from being fully ascended. But like Sidonai, he's got his full kit available. Skill rank wise, we're still wanting to prioritize getting protection from arrows to rank 10, which, provided we had these 2 mats, we could do, because we have the laws now, which it takes 1 law to get each skill from 9 to 10. So let's get to it. For anyone who lives in the States, I imagine this map will look quite familiar for you. We start in Black Hills. This is a bit of an odd singularity. What do I want to equip her with? Guess the old dagger. Azov blade, just to make a wee bit tankier. I don't really have anything that goes well on Ku. That's hard. Guess I keep this on him because it's full attack and provides a bit of crit star. We want to get Fear and Sand Destruction back. No, she... What's this? Fire Buster. As you can see, we started getting a handful of spooks when it comes to the welfare craft essence drops. It's kind of amusing. Still can't quite get over this. What absurd luck. Guess we just assume slap this on there as well. Okay. Still working on leveling this craft essence up, but it's almost to 10. One thing you will quickly learn in this singularity is, despite being based in America, there's not really a lot of America in it, as it were. This is about the most American thing in it, are these red, white, and blue bots. And I think there are 3 American servants involved in the story, but one of them, well, two of them don't really do much of anything, one of which just sort of tags along with your party for no reason but doesn't actually accomplish anything. And then the other is kind of a joke character, but plays a big role in this, well, a moderate-sized role in the story. No, this singularity is mostly focused on Irish servants, of all things. And oddly, a small snippet of Indian servants as well. I know some have been quite disappointed in this particular singularity story and servant usage. Due to those sort of things. Incidentally, Ku's really good in this singularity, as one might expect, because these bots are a very common enemy that you find. But the amusing thing is, they actually sort of counter him a little, because they can give themselves sure hit, so they can hit through his evade. But then still they're still archers, and he's still a lancer, so he's still taking half damage. And they have to waste one of their moves to give them the sure hit instead of attacking. So either way, Ku's very handy, as always. Oh, I should probably turn the sound on. Oops. Well, it was rather quiet. But yes, this singularity is basically exploring Ireland by way of America. So figure that out. And now we have sabers, so here's a nice archer. And here we will need the other common trash mob for this particular singularity. Celtic soldiers. I have a sneaking suspicion Robin is not going to kill that second one. No, we're good. I forgot I got him an extra 10 levels. Still don't have him fully maxed out though, as you can see, because his remaining requirements are a bit nearby. Just a wee bit of overkill. And of course they can drop hero proofs, which are very much needed. We need so many of them already. Master gets a slight profile upgrade or update after that fight. I don't think she gets anything else until partway through Camelot though. quite remember. Should be fine. Mixed nodes are always a bit sketch, unless you just throw a bunch of berserkers at. Oh, they can be. The obvious solution is 1 support and 2 DPS that can handle either class, or each class individually rather. And here's the other variant of Celtic soldiers, which are actual proper soldiers instead of the rogues that the others more seem to resemble. We're still setting with an MP1 coup, unfortunately. And so his damage is strong because it's an upgraded MP, but it's going to shoot up quite a bit when we finally get that upgrade, or when we finally get MP2. And also, still holding it out to get Asuka eventually. She's being quite stubborn. Doing this purely for a bit of MP gain. A bit. Could keeps getting all his cards. He really wants to do work. Really wants to show out. Man, there's no need. Those keep dropping. We'll be your happy campers. Now next is this very similar fight. However, I think we will do this. Well, this is unlucky. Debating on if these soldiers are even going to get an attack in. If Marsh was forward, I'd be confident that she could take this one out with her double buster. But she's not yet. Fine. Didn't matter anyway. It is a shame. Now we got some Jolter cards. I'm going to do this just to get us some MP gain, because I did well. Double Buster and with Ishtar's 80% crit chance, we probably could have one-turned that. And we'll activate Mana Burst. Good old Buster Chain. Let's just get all the 10% crits, why don't we? So effectively this one has similar health to this one because she's going to be doing half damage to him. However, doesn't particularly matter. We call his overkill. Just a bit. Now we have a wee little fight against Alonso. If only we had, we could have gotten that to 10. If only we could end the turn 1 with Okida. However, it's not to be. Yes, still in Ireland. See, we have 20% charge here, and then he'd provide another 20% charge, and then we'd have 10% from here. So they'd put her at 100, and just pop pop, he's gone. Fortunately, it wasn't meant to be. So, I'll just do this number. We've leveled his skills a bit, but we haven't been able to do a lot with it, unfortunately. Okay, now as long as he doesn't evade, should be good to go. Alright, we can even do this to get her Star Gather up. She gets a little overly excited, man. TB acts up. Feels bad. Another Lancer fight. Interesting. Oh, still Ireland. So, Toria, well, you could have gotten some cards, right? Now, who to focus in this fight? Well, if you have Taunters set up, it'd be better to get rid of Fionn first because he's got an AoE and B, whereas Diarmid hits single target. However, Diarmid can evade, and that can be annoying. He has sort of like Ku in that regard. He's like a mini Ku almost. So it really depends on how you've structured your party. As most things do, to be fair. I'm going to do this just because odds are we're not going to have a decent amount of stars next turn. As you see, and they have the evade. There's a 1-turn evade. Fionn's is a chance to evade, so that's fun. I guess we'll work on trying to get her and be back.
この仮面を脱ぎ乱領王の証明とする。退け魔将ども。取った。まだまだ輝いてしまおうか。
Go ahead and get rid of D in it.
受けます。はい、行きましょう。ファイヤー。ファイヤー。華麗に舞うが如く。受けます。お任せ。はい。ファイヤー。取った。
That should just about do it for this fight.
まだまだ未熟ですね。
Back to an all-archer fight. Get used to that on this node. Good lord, coup over here. Once again. Oh, now length. The length of this is the point in the game where the length of each singularity starts going up. So before they were all in the mid or early teens in chapter number, but this little puppy has 22, I believe it's 22, yes, 22 chapters. And it's only going to go up the next two after that. However, at least in Babylonia, it's assuaged somewhat by introducing story-only arrows in the nodes. So a lot of it is just little scenes where you see a cutscene, as opposed to having a big fight.
でもな、厳しくいくわ。そこ、動かない。
As you can see, they give themselves sure hits, but that takes up one of their 2 actions in a turn. We'll create few stars. Not a great number, but a few. Oh, we're already. Did not even pay attention to the fact this was a 2-way fight. Good thing these are archers and not sabers, so this is a rescue goal and not Ishtar. Otherwise, it would have been a bit of a boo-boo. No mana burst. And of course, as you might have expected, these little mechanical inventory also drop the eternal gears, just like the ones in London did. And right here is basically the main servant of this. She's your buddy servant for this singularity, Florence Nightingale. the amusing thing is, it was about this point where I got spooked by her, so I had my own and the guest one. It was pretty amusing. So they could even get you to an American servant to be the vocal servant. That's your main tag along. It's pretty amusing.
んじゃあまあぶちかますかね
I personally don't particularly care in that regard what servant was included in here or not. But it is definitely understandable for those who are wanting to see. It's always understandable when somebody sees their country being involved in a singularity and be like, alright, I'll get to see a lot of neat legends in my neck of the woods. And then they've not really happened, or they're not treated seriously. So it's definitely understandable the backlash from some this singularity got. Luckily though, after we get through here is when things really start getting real. Because Camelot's where that business really picks up. Both gameplay wise and story wise. Although to be fair, this Singularity does have some a decent step up in fight difficulty, especially towards the end, in comparison to previous Singularities. I should probably just blow them up. Actually pay attention to what I'm doing. Just occurred to me, I wonder if that area is the same background they used in the tutorial fight against that golem when you first start an account. If I start another alt sometime, maybe I'll pay attention to that. If I remember. If I remember. Also, that's certainly a title for a node. Let's go back to... Yep. See, Kana's here, which any of you familiar with Indian mythology probably will know who else that means is here. Elena Blavatsky, who some of you may have gotten as a starting server. Really like Elena. It's a shame I don't have her on a single account, but maybe eventually. Yes, we'll wait. We'll do this just to have something a bit different. Spread the love of it a little.
戦闘です。マスター、指示を。シールドエフェクト発揮します。
They shouldn't get an attack off,
それ承知いたしました。叩くわ。
I'm going to say. Easy as. Lyco's they're pretty solid. AoE bust to Berserker. Now she doesn't have a battery, and to this point in NA, it's going to be a while, but she does get an MP upgrade, which helps her. That being said, Garjuna is still the better unit, just because of the just ludicrous damage he does. But she can, she has a huge star gather rate and crit up. They lost 3 turns. She gets 3 turns of spatial damage against quite a few enemy types. And the big buster up that's attached to an evade. She has a turn of hard survivability as well as a large buster. So basically MP, then her MP will generate a lot of crit stars. And then she blows them up with massive crits the next turn. So in that way she's sort of semi-AoE and semi-single target. She's definitely a solid unit and she's quite popular, so she gets raid ups every now and then, as opposed to Garjuna, who got 1 raid up and to this day in Japan has not been raided up again, unless I'm forgetting one, but I'm fairly certain he hasn't. Which means if you missed him, then you just have to pray to Iron Jesus on GSSR on New Year's or anniversaries that you end up snagging him. And now recently in JP they finally came up with Morgan Le Fay, and she's an AoE buster Berserker as well, who's quite solid. So you have 3 really good options there. It's very handy to have an AoE Berserker, just in general, because of mixed nodes like this and the like. And then there are even mixed cavalry and knight class nodes. There's some nodes with like 5 different classes. It can get a bit silly. We'll do this just to keep her up this turn. Probably should have evaded with Jolter, but I forgot. Oops. Didn't matter anyway. We had Taunt on. Oh, the cooldown's already back. What luck. Oh, and I mentioned batteries. So Raikar has no battery, and then Arjuna, or Arjuna Alta is his actual name, has a 30% battery, and then Morgana, or Morgan, has 50% battery.
修羅になるわ。ごめんあらあなたに愛だですよね。
My favorite of the three would be probably Morgan, just personally. Second would be Raiko, just character-wise. I'm fairly indifferent to Arjuna and Garjuna, personally.
この刀に切れぬものはないのよ。手作りだけど。
They are quite popular characters though. Alright, that's lovely, a double hero proof drop. Give us more of those, please. It's about this time you'll see what they did to. Well, you've already seen one of the 3 American servants. Actually, since we're skipping the story and it's been a while since I played through here, I think you'll have seen all 3 of them at this point. So the initial one and the reward for completing the singularity is Geronimo, who, the poor lad, his skills are so bad. He effectively has 1 skill, which, as you can imagine, is not an effective strategy for being a really good servant, unfortunately. Then they have Billy the Kid, who they completely waste in the story. In fact, they waste him so much that they bring him back in one of the lost spells and actually allow him to show his stuff a bit there, which made up for it at least a bit. And the other is the one that keeps creating these patriotic robots, or mech suits, as it were. Thomas Edison, who they did some things too. That is a large lad.
どこを切り落とそうか。それもそうだね。分かったよ。呼び起こす星の息吹。人と共に歩む。ゆえに、エヌマ・エリシュ。
But yes, Edison, they, for some reason, made him an anthropomorphic lion man in sort of a red, white, and blue Captain America outfit. I should have just said Captain America outfit. Oh, sorry. Yes, this is Edison. This is Thomas Edison. Well, not only Thomas Edison, But apparently he's every past, present, and future US president mixed together with Thomas Edison into one servant. So, yeah. Obviously that brought mixed reactions from people. We'll say mixed. Now to fight against an army of robots. But yeah, so that's what they did with Edison, and but quite a few other potential American servants. And then Billy they completely waste, and then Geronimo basically accomplishes nothing but just being there, story-wise, in the grand scheme of things. Those who are a big fan of the Irish servants, it's a bit of a mixed feeling for those. As, oh, it's great, I get to see Gugelaine and David and Fionn and spoilers. But they're guessing a lot. But unfortunately, they've still to this point, they keep popping up in other singularities and other places in general. But they never get their own focused event or story chapter that focuses on Ireland itself. They never get to be in their home turf, focusing on their legends and the like. They're always just sprinkled in everyone else's stories, which is weird. How do I want to do this? Yes. That's fine. I was about to say, I don't think we're going to clear this wave in one turn. And then they're like, how about I crit? How about I just keep critting? That'll do it. That skill. Her third skill is so insane, honestly. It's just a large HP up, which is effectively a heal as well. Large, decent sized defense, huh? Supercharging the MP gain, all for 3 turns, and then a fairly large attack up from using a Noble Phantasm when it's active. A Rescue Girl's a good unit, everyone. Who knew? Okay. Boss fight time. Who do we want to use? Guess we'll give Sigurd another try. Suppose. How do you keep ending up here instead of there? Lovely sunset image there. Now we face Kana. Wait, where's the sunset? Game, my immersion, why? So, I think this is the second time I've ever used this blow. Yeah, he doesn't have a battery. So we'll do this number. Okay, crit strength 3 times 3 turns. 1 turn buster out with guards. Crit start drop, right? And debuff immune. Oh, that's targetable. Interesting. Yes, we'll put it on him. I don't think he's going to generate that many stars, but we'll see. Hey, can you not crit? Reminder, that's half damage. Karna may be a tough lad, as it turns out. Good news is we're getting a... Well, we could have been beat that turn, but I'm a dummy and I forgot I had 10% charge on my Mystic card. He really doesn't like Sigurd. It's because you have matching hair, isn't it? I mean, I can have white hair around here, mate. Well, in that case... Won't even question it. Okay. I may have made a terrible mistake. I'm pretty sure you're a single target, right? Yes. Okay. Mercy. That's a little bit of damage. We're getting a nice number of these Lancer monuments. It's about this point where you start getting monuments quite often. As I mentioned before, it's around this point and on where monuments will no longer really be an issue for you. Now, they still will be at first, but fairly soon you will start to get more of them than you get new servants to use them on. As long as you're not rolling every time you get a single roll available, like some people do, and then whine that they never get what they want. Yeah, I think we're back to baby dragons. Actually, since she hasn't gotten to make an appearance in this Singularity yet, it's a good opportunity to. Oh yeah, Rama's a thing. So, Karna and Arjuna and Rama are here. And a bunch of Irish servants. Nightingale and Helena. She got both buffs, are you kidding me? What a little trooper. Look at her. I like the way she's giving off sublimation. Here in the wild bloody west. Which looks rather like a desert, if you ask me. Okay, what is the sound? That gain was lovely. Oh, as will this be. Okay. And that's taken care of. Remarkable amount of star gem from art cards even there. Which is odd. But she doesn't have command cards. Incidentally, one of the nodes, one of the free quests in the Singularity will become the highest drop rate for Dragon Fangs. So do keep an eye out for that one. I'm not sure if it's this one or not. I think it's further east. I wouldn't swear to it though. Come on, Cedar Knife. Let's see those crits. Why not? Come on, let's see a crit. That's good last. Ow. I see they did that in the... If they were clever, they would have done that in the other order. They would have buffed thin crit. Silly dragon. Let's make sure to do this. Get her MP on her. I was becoming concerned when it was slow to charge to 100% there. Becoming quite concerned. Lower the defense. Juice up everyone in their mum's attack. And then this will eventually get an upgrade to where it's also a 30% battery, which actually helps her quite a bit. Like her only real issue after she gets that is the fact that her MP only hits once, so she doesn't get any refund worth talking about. Which in a large portion of the player base who are obsessed with looping minds that makes it dreadful, which just isn't true. Oh, that's beautiful. We're going to need a lot of those. I think we need, what, 24 of them for Lon Ling to get his final ascension. Mercy. Alright, yes, I think this is the place. I recognize that name. So this free quest will be the best non-event node to farm Dragon Fangs at. Good luck. What is this node? Since sabers are going to be here, we'll need to switch back to, I guess, this. I wonder. No, that's fine. Guess we're getting some MP gain this time. Lards and losses. Oi, that's no fair. Why didn't you give him another whack? Cheating bloody dragon. Okay, Roland, I'm going to trust that you're going to do 4,000 damage to this with the Buster. Good lad. Good lad. Oh, this was a two-way fight. There we go again. Luckily, we actually have some MP battery now that she has pinball on it. Rank 10. And we have this. Good, good. Targetable battery is so useful. There's a reason people really talk Waver up as being a godsend to accounts when you finally acquire him. And the good news is, even if he hasn't spooked you to this point, moderately early next year, a couple months into next year, and we should be getting a big milestone DL campaign that gives you a lot of lovely stuff, including an SSR ticket, so you can just pick Wave off of that, and as long as you ascend him once and get him to bond 5, which are neither of which are difficult to do, then you'll be good to go. This is one of those funky mixed notes. We will once again use Raika, I guess. Oh. It was such a nice town too. And suddenly the town is fixed. Oops. There's a miracle. Ouch. Reminder, there's a downside with Berserkers. Also, that's why I thought Raiko, despite being so, one of the unfortunate things about her is her attack is actually not particularly high for a 5-star unit. That's especially as offensively focused as she is. Whereas Jolta here is a 4-star, which has inherently lower stats and is 10 levels lower and is only about 1,000 below. If we grail her up to 90, like I have on my main account, their attack stats will be very close. Which doesn't seem to, right? Let me check something. No, it's right. I was thinking maybe this person just didn't have Raiko forward, so she's missing 1,000 attack, but no, she's been forward. Should be doing this actually, just for safety's sake. Ah, this is a wee bit painful. Well, the crit made up for it. Can we stop shooting her, please? It's all the same to you. We'll go ahead and take these down. Let you also have a little fun. I'm going to do it this way. Speaking of AoE Berserkers, there's a really good one coming up in this very next event. Summer Musashi, and she is arts flavored. And now, as you can see, we've come to the point where our master level is too high and we can't just play indefinitely even on these super discounted story nodes. However, as you also see, we have quite a stock of apples, so we will use one, and I say we're liable to level up before running out of game, but regardless, we'll go until we run out of AP again, and then wrap up. Here's my current plan. We're about to meet a very peculiar enemy. What do I want to use against it? That works. Yeah, that looks fine. You're about to meet a very annoying boss enemy type. Or mini boss enemy, really. Not beast, of course, but give it just a moment. Also, I was hoping Jolter would get more cards than this, because now, as you can tell, Melt got them all, but they resist her because she's an alter ego. Okay, wasted his turn. That's fine, we take those. And just like that, we got our MP. So this particular semi-boss monster that we have coming up, it's called the Soul Eater. Very handsome bugger, isn't he? And he's an assassin, so he has a very small MP gauge. He has a skill that lowers your debuff resistance and steals your MP for a turn, both of which are quite annoying. And his MP does a lot of damage and gives himself 110 of evade. And generally they have quite high health as well. And just as a reminder, assassins are weakest to casters, but it is bloody difficult to come by a proper damage dealing caster. If there is one class in this game that needs some serious help, common class as it were, it's casters. It's actually a bit sad that the class is in the shape it's in still. Now the supports are amazing, too strong if anything, but damage wise, there are perfectly fine AoE casters, but again, when it comes to these big health sponge enemies like this, you want you a solid single target heavy hitter, of which it's practically non-existent. You basically hope you get spooked a couple times by Sonzong if you want you a good single target damaging caster, because otherwise you're in a pretty poor shape because the other options are all limited, and not only limited but limited and are sort of like Juno Alta, where they never bloody get raid ups. It's definitely a bit of a thing. And one of the simplest things they could do to solve this is fix Medea to where her MP actually does single target MP damage instead of AoE. Because it is a single target MP after all. That's all they really need to do. And pretty much be good to go. Unfortunately, they've yet to do anything like that. It's not even a matter of, oh, they already gave her an MP upgrade, so they don't want to upgrade it again, because they've proven that they are, if a unit's bad enough, they will double down and give them an upgrade on the same thing they've already upgraded. Because they did that with Vlad. specifically his MP. So they will do it. Oh, they have the capability of doing it. It's just, will they? Of course, got a good single target Berserker. It also solves the problem, sort of. Because again, Berserkers are very squishy. And Assassins have a uniquely high, naturally high crit rate. Also the Soul Eater, the ones that drop these black tallow. Which is not a commonly used mat, thankfully, which means you shouldn't really have to farm them. Basically, you buy the stock out of the shop first couple of times, and you're pretty much set. Unless you just happen to randomly adore every single unit that uses it. Now, dollars. Let's go back to good old-fashioned AoE. Oh, coming in with the crits. It's quite unexpected out of Lonling. Here's the lovely looping combo for Artoria. Well, provided that those arts would like crit. Say you broke a break bar or something like that, or she could otherwise get overkill damage on an enemy with them. Which, I think it's a third buff that's coming up eventually. JP already has it, of course. That changes her middle skill to where it this is a bit of an interesting one. Guess we'll do this. She maintains the 50% bust up, of course, but it adds a 30% NP damage up for one turn, and it transforms all of her face cards into Buster. Now, that's an improvement to her NP damage, of course, 30% NP damage up. That's another self-multiplier. That means she herself can provide an attack, a general attack up, and then I bust her up, and then an MP damage up. So that's 3 different types of buff that will all multiply together, giving a pretty substantial buff. However, if you're wanting to quickly get her MP back, because again, the way break bars work, it doesn't matter. Okay, so oh, this break bar is 150k, and I can do 150k. So it doesn't matter if, oh, now she's got this buff, now she can do 180k. It doesn't matter because she's not going to do any damage to the second break bar until the break bar actually breaks at the end of the turn. What matters is getting that MP back so you can use it again to break the next break bar. But if you've turned all of her, so say she has her MP and then she has 2 arts cards, and you're like, okay, so I use my MP, and then with the 50% buster up, I can finish the break bar off, and then arts on the broken health bar to get overkill bonus for MP gain, and now we're right back being able to use our MP again. However, after the buff, well, now my MP is going to hit harder, but I can't do the arts cards, so now I can't get refund. Now, it's not always going to work out that way, of course, and you can always forgo activating it and then use the MP. However, that's even more situational, considering, well, you have to still be able to break the break bar, otherwise you're still in a sticky situation. So it's one of those buffs that it would have been a really good buff with one minor alteration. Simply go yes or no, do you want to activate the part with transforms or cards? Make that part optional, and it's a superb buff. Unfortunately, it's not that way, and who knows if they will change it or not in the future. The Wyvern's more dangerous, so we'll take it down first. Activate MP gainer. That wasn't too bad. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do an arts chain, that'll get us 70%, and then she's going to hit with these 2 arts cards, which will definitely get her over 80%, because I have 20% charge over here. And then U-Bow will blow up this lad. Theoretically. I swear the delay on her arts card, her final arts card hit, always spooks me a bit. It's like, wait a minute, that was not much damage. Luckily she crit on the other one and it didn't matter regardless. But 7% refund on her MP. So it's sort of amusingly low, honestly. I'm trying to think if there are any other AoE arts assassins. Well, Assassin Nidacris is, but she's long gone at this point. Pretty sure well, yeah, she is, but she has the same issue as regular Nidacris does, where she casts instant death. And of course, if she instant deaths, she casts instant death before doing damage, which means she doesn't get refund on any enemy it procs on. Which is unfortunate. I'm gonna do this anyway. YOLO. Who's afraid of sabers? Not I. That just gives me the big stat. So that's already a 20% battery. It goes up to 30% as she goes up to rank 10. So that's not too bad. Of course, raise the chance. Well, no, because it's a 60% chance regardless. It's just the amount of buff she can give. Oh, that was rude. Well, anything with Ishtar is that her big battery only provides defensive things. Well, besides Inborn Pierce. So it gives her Inborn for an 80% chance of Inborn and an 80% chance of Inborn Pierce, both for a turn, as well as the 50% battery. But since there's not a damage skill attached to it, if you don't need the PS or the protection, you can just freely use it as a battery and everything else as bonus. As opposed to like Arrest, who is it's a buster up that's tied to the battery. So if you need the battery, well then again if you're using the battery typically it's to you're going to NP immediately, so it doesn't particularly matter. So actually I don't know what I was saying there. It's probably better to have the offensive on the battery as opposed to the defensive. Because there may be cases, like say we couldn't kill something over here and they had their MP ready, so we needed our invuln, and then we might waste the battery to use the invuln. Yeah, that makes sense. Probably. Hopefully.
私の本気散らしなさい。シロ。飛ぶわよ。また。ゲートオープン。光栄に思いなさい。これが私の全力先生。
And not a drop to be found.
先輩。
Oh, we're getting very close to a level up. Well, to multiple level ups. Those are rather large trees. Alexandria. Really, march all across this map. Single fight, probably a boss fight. Suppose we'll find out here shortly. Star is born. Wait, is this it's a bit early to fight him, isn't it? It's one of those large waves.
頑張ります。狙いは仕込みは上手。いいじゃない。放て。
Incidentally, you might have noticed, that's probably hero proof, hopefully. Might notice, may have noticed long ago, that there's an upgrade, a non-filled in upgrade tick on Marshy's first skill. Remember I said partially through the next singularity, I think it is when she finally gets that upgrade, and that adds an extra damage cut to the skill, which really beefs up the amount of defense we get from it. Because the way damage cut works, I'm not sure if I explained it before, but first, so say, okay, so you have Marsh at, you have her skill at rank 10. Well, she's going to give you a 20% defense up, which means you're going to take 80% damage. 80% of the damage you would normally take. And then on top of that, whatever that number would be, the damage cut will reduce it by a further flat amount. And specifically, hers is only a one-hit damage cut, but it's a substantial damage cut of 2,000. So the first attack that hits each of your allies will do 2,000 less damage, and that damage cut lasts until they hit. So it's like David's evade, the one-hit AOE one-hit evade, where it lasts until it's actually used. so it really helps a lot. Well, there's not a lot we can really do here. Besides MP game. I'm tempted to just blow the rest of this wave up with Ishtar and let Robin take a crack at the boss just to see what he can do. You know what? That's exactly what I'm going to do. I was right about it being a boss. Okay, yeah. I did not think we fought Fergus this soon. Shows what I know, I suppose. Let's give Robin a little attack up. Juice him up with this as well. Okay, I think we're doing okay now. Not bad for no overcharge. Not even MP5. Although I think he's MP4 at this point. Yeah, getting MP4. And level 60, so he's missing about in the vicinity of 1,000 attack. And I don't even think he's fired either, so he's missing a lot more than that. Not fully fired at least. Honestly, if he was proper level 70 MP5 and fired, I probably just would have killed. I would not be surprised if it had. Only his face cards hit with any sort of punch. But that's the way of life as a 3-star. Now he really wants a nice AoE damaging caster. Here's your last for single target caster damage. She's pretty much all you've got, fortunately. She is ticketable, of course, because she's spooky, she's not limited, and she's not story locked. She doesn't really get rate ups either, though, so you will have to rely on the spook for the most part. I don't remember the last time she was. Well, actually, I do, because her event, that's when she was rated up. But that was early last year. I think it was early last year. Guess I'll go to Vinci. I forgot we bought to go see.
どこから手をつけたものかな。およそ私は万能。おいで。みんな、よろしよし。白いの偉いね。
Well, between Seed and I and Da Vinci, we're having a bit of crit star battery going on, so that's lovely. Not too impressive, at least on Seed and I's end, unfortunately, but to take the ghost out first because it can drain MP, which can be quite frustrating. Incidentally, the rare time you fight these hands, they typically, just like in the daily quest, will drop embers. In fact, In fact, in Babylonia there's a particular node where you fight quite a bit and get a bunch of gold embers. It's really lovely. I don't know why, but I always get it in my head that Da Vinci is single target for some reason. Even though I should know better, but I don't know, something just gets mixed up in the head. More and more embers. This is an interesting one. Considering it defaults on Lancer here, I kind of wonder if that means that the archers are balls, or the tougher unit in this. Let's find out.
黒源ね、サバトの始まりよ。カラスが歌い黒猫がにゃんと鳴くわ。修羅になるわ。
That's adorable.
ステータス頑張ります。それね、我が義を見よ。叩くわ。はっ羅刹と化すわ。了解です。それね、行くわ。ふっはっ修羅になるわ。はい、我が義を押してまいる。ふっは
Okay, we got our MP. Ah, yep. I think, from what I remember, this is our first time fighting a Gazer in a story map, because I'm pretty sure we fought them before in daily quests and event quests.
シールドエフェクト
I'm fairly sure.
手柄は足にあり、運は手にあり。我が押して行くわ。長尾影虎水産行くぞ。
Reminder they drop, or can drop, tear stones of blood. And it did. Probably. Just one more level up, and then Mr. Guard will be maxed out. And we even got Throne of Bone. Tear stone of blood is, as I've probably mentioned before, very similar to Black Tallow in that not many servants actually use it for levels of skills, of ascensions of skills. 3. So we are going to get a level up and refill our AP. Oh dear. This could be quite the mess, actually. So in situations like this, it's probably best to go with Malta. Because they would be at least neutral to everything. Huh. He's a lonely little bugger, isn't he?
でもな、少しは優しくね。そこ動くな。
Look how quick art often that glitches out a bit, audio wise. It's kind of amusing. Unlike this hand.
シールドエフェクト発揮します。行くぜ。はい。任せな。そら。
Ah, there's his crits. Oi! Not you. We're the ones that get the crits around here. Rude.
固く縛るわ。任せな。 しはやるわ。ダメだってば、今格好つけてるんだから。地の女神エルシキガルが命じます。黙かたでもまあ少しは優しくね。お願いネスラムタイヤ。冥界の守りを知りなさい。これが私のクルキガルイルカルだ。みんな無事？そうならよかった。まだまだ気をつけていきましょう。
Just keep those coming. Did we even fight a costume there? Wait a minute. Alright. Story as you. Giving the old run around, backtracking and the like. Alcatraz. Spooky looking place. I think it's giving us the finger. Rude. Also use hair. I might end up using the Spatial Ascension on my main on her, honestly. Because her mats are a nightmare. My goodness. She takes so many great night medals and dragon fangs. Yeah, gives me the heebie-jeebies. So many. She takes at minimum 20 of both just ascending, and then she takes more than that per skill. So even cutting out her ascension mats is pretty nice. In contrast, the other 5 stars that I have sitting in my box at level 1 on my main, their mats are nothing in comparison. There's no way the Special Ascension will last until Saber Wars 2 comes along, which is when I'll be rolling Astarte. So, in the meantime, I will at least wait until I roll for Lambda Lilith and toss a 10 roll or 2, well, an 11 roll or 2, as it were, for Maryland first. I don't know if I'll do that or not though. Just some YOLO tickets to see if he happened to come. His mats aren't bad at all. The worst thing is, well, the only bad mat is Pages, which were in quite an unlucky period, and then none of the events or the lottery gives Pages, so you kind of have to come by them the old-fashioned way if you're like me and you're fresh out. Luckily, provided I got him and get Castoria next year, I should be pretty much done with Pages at that point, because I've already leveled everyone else that needs the bloody things that I have or am interested in getting. So that's good news, because that bronze mats are a bloody nightmare, but pages have been just right there with them for me. In fact, I'd say I've had more difficulty with pages than I have with bronze mats so far. It has not been a fun ride in that regard. That being said, I am in Barnes Hill now on my main. Still good on, well, and Dragon. Well, Dragon things, I have enough, provided I go for Mordred next year. Or Ticketer, whatever. I have enough to fully max it out. But that's all I have when it comes to things. However, I do think things are available in the lottery, so it shouldn't be that bad. Regardless, I think they're going to be in event shops between now and then anyway. And hero proofs I'm alright with for now, mainly because the way that account's played out, I haven't really leveled too many people that need them, or I've already went through that already. And Void Dust, that's the funny one, because I actually have quite a few people that take a lot of it, and I've already leveled them, and I still have a very large amount of it. I don't know how I got so much Void Dust or when, but I had it in excess even though I needed a great deal of it. Very, very odd. But pages, bloody nightmare. Okay, it actually decreased the star weight enough that the stars were properly distributed to other units for once. It's refreshing. These druids don't pop up very often, I feel. I'm going to use this first just because Buster. When it comes to Echarm, I really like all three of her ascensions. Well, I would like all three of her ascensions, except her first two have glasses, and I'm one of the apparently minority on the internet that really dislike glasses. Just very much not a fan. Otherwise, I really quite like all three of her ascensions. And even a third one, I think would be a lot better if the hood was down. But unfortunately it isn't. That being said, I don't hate glasses to the point I really dislike her other two ascensions. It's just sort of, that's a shame kind of thing. Okay, looks like we're... It is a shame we just... damaging casters and AoE assassins are one of those things that you just never bloody find on your friends list that often. Nightingale's a really good unit.
行くよシロ。
Very supportive. She actually packs quite a wallop. She's got nice 5-star stats. She has a fairly substantial attack and defense up, which actually makes her moderately tanky against humanoid enemies, which quite a few enemies in the game are humanoid. They last 3 turns. She gives, just like Marilyn, a nice 3-turn 50% buster up. In fact, until Marilyn came out, she was sort of Queen Buster support. And they still work really well together. Because between them, that's a lot of protection and a lot of damage. And she adds debuff removal and protection and the like. Just really lovely stuff. And she seems very fond of spooking me for whatever reason. I should probably actually use my skills. Probably a good idea. You're a lucky lass, aren't you? You're winning these coin flips too often. You make me nervous. Something bad's about to happen. Thought I got over prepared for that sound a little bit. Take the red one out just because, well, for obvious reasons, they're a bit stouter. We take those. Now we have access to both MPs. Oh, they all dodged the charm. Interesting. Soon to the wyverns. I'm actually surprised we leveled up there. I thought we'd take another one. Just give us all of the fangs. All of them. Now that level up is going to keep us going for a while yet. But I don't know about going all the way. This is such a long singularity. I really don't know about going through all of it. And provided we did, I'm definitely not sure about starting Camelot before maybe another event or so to get our account strengthened. Don't get me wrong, we could probably swing it. I mean, just because we have access to this, we can definitely swing it. But what do I want to use for this fight? Berserker. Oh, wait, is this fight? In that case. that case, I think we'll do this number. Before the Kiara getting her NP upgrade. Yeah, Beowulf. I'd almost forgotten he even popped up.
指示を
And a big old dragon.
おいでみんなよろしくねおいでみんなよろしくねシールドエフェクト発揮します大増利権威
It's a shame to use this and lose two of the effects immediately, but it's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, as they say. Okay.
主上無変慌てない慌てない
The one thing with Kiara is, since she doesn't really buff her own damage, directly at least, but instead lowers, like all she does is lower the answer resist of the enemy. She's one of those that if you want to do nice damage with her, she definitely needs some extra support. She's not going to blow you away numbers wise in a solo situation. For the that makes sense. That being said, she's MP5 helps a lot, as well as going all the way to 100.
蹴散らしなさいやっちゃうねおてんばか
And their upgraded MP also helps a lot.
楽しい
Berserker monuments. We need so many of those for Cedar 9. I think 9 more. Mercy. Hope you enjoyed that fight, because now things get serial. My goodness. That is, Guess we'll give Abby some shine. I will say though, her MP animation, when it's outside of her final ascension, is a bit meh, I feel. There's not a lot to it. I definitely prefer the demonic Abbey NP instead. Unfortunately, the way her battery works, it's a regen. It's a party-wide MP regen. I think it's party-wide. So we won't be able to just one-turn MP because Marsh isn't waiver. Yeah, it's let's just give them all the debuffs. Why don't we?
みんなよろしくねよしよし白は偉いねステータス頑張りますはいやっちゃうね
Let's just get all of the MPs, why don't we? Alright, so her MP regen is party-wide 10% per turn for 3 turns. So she ends up giving everyone 30% over 3 turns. However, he didn't need it's that long. Her MP is pretty decent because it removes buffs before hitting, so no dodging that. But yeah, there's a lot to the animation in this Ascension. Still here. Time to go back to Sabres. Need to get Lonling on my main. It'll be a difficult decision if we get another 4-star ticket in November or whenever to pick between MP2ing Nita Gris, which she kind of needs just to make the off chance her instant death doesn't proc, just to make it more her clear, more consistent. It's always a bad feeling when you just use your MP and then, oh no, one of them survived with like 12 HP with a bugger. But yeah, it'll be a difficult decision between doing that or snatching Lone Lane. Of course, this is provided neither of them end up spooking me when I roll, because theoretically I should have already finished rolling for the year, or planned rolls for the year by that point, because Saber Wars is in October, or supposed to be in October. Schedule wise, we seem to be roughly 2 weeks ahead of where JP was at this same point in time 2 years ago. actually. Let's give Ushi some love. Just because the poor thing never gets to play. Because how difficult it is to initially ascend her and the like.
そう完了行きます
When dire need of some rider monuments. She does her best helping her teammates too.
頑張ります
Really looking forward to animation update. So she doesn't she actually looks like proper Ushi. I'm not sure if I've shown on screen. What? Yeah, I have, because we were forced to use her once in the event. Assassin Ushi, where she's proper Ushi, and she looks a lot more like Assassin Ushi, proportion wise and model wise, after animation update. So that's something to look forward to in a couple of years.
了解ですお任せをいいじゃないよーどうかしら
I'm getting her buffs. She has her MP buff, but we need to do a strengthen for that skill. And then she's got one coming for this skill, which is another really good one. Really good, good buff.
いいじゃない
We also need to unlock a third skill, which is also a really good skill, because anytime you get a nice evade, it's nothing but a good thing. Also, glad I thought to check 2 wave 5.
はいお任せをはいはいはっどうかしらセット
There you go, love. We'll let you get an attack on.
王冠よ
Then we'll blow up the rest of them with Ishtar.
さあ起立しなさい
I'll even do this. Just to make it flat. Just to make up for the fact she's just MP3.
キイチが競歩
金星まで
受けてみるか
いいじゃない
So alright, Ushi, we'll get you.
発想飛び
We'll get you fully leveled up, and then we'll grail you too. How about that?
飛ぶわよ
Oh, that's something. If you want to know how strong Ushi's MP is,
光栄に思いなさいこれが私の
even level 70 Ushi at MP5, which again, everyone will get eventually, as long as you just don't ban her every time. Which, how could you? You're terrible. You monster. So, Maid Alter, single target, quick 5-star, has an extremely hard-hitting single target MP, especially considering all the damage up she gives herself for an initial hit of it. And she really juices her damage up and then just whacks with it. Well, Ushi's going to do comparable damage to her. Especially if you grail Ushi. They're going to be pretty much neck and neck. In fact, Ushi will start beating her. If you grail her and 2k foe her, she will out damage Maid Alter. All with a 3-star cost, which gives you plenty of leniency in party composition. You have to get MP2 Maid Alter, and even then they're still comparable. Maid Alter will win a game, but it will be comparable, at least according to the damage calculator that I used to figure this mess out. Quick Google search for an FGR damage calculator or MP damage calculator, and you can find that stuff pretty handy. And this is all while she also gives the entire team MP gain up, damage up, and gives herself a quick up, and has a turn of hard survival with an evade. And again, it's most people are going to have made alter because her rate. Well, she actually gets rated up again starting on New Year's. I'm pretty sure this coming New Year she will be rated up. Tamashark will be as well, which is really funny. Two summer servants rated up in New Year's for some reason. That seems a bit out of place, but who are we to argue? But yeah, I quite like both units. So yeah, RNG's not being kind to us at the moment. And then we randomly crit. We take those, I suppose. Now this is not going to be counter-class damage, so, and she's not juiced up as much. Still very solid, 28k in neutral. She's not forward, and she's 20 levels below max. The not forward means she's more like 30 levels, or even lower 30 levels below max. To be fair, oh, that's beautiful. That's quite lovely. I think it's Ku who needs just a bloody mini at this point. Well, for the immediate, yeah. Still need 13 more of the bloody things. So 2 more of these blasted feathers. We're a long way away from a place where we can farm those worth a darn. So we have to hope they pop up in another event. Well, we go back to lonely now.
行きます。
ステータス頑張ります。
逃がしはしない。お任せよ。受けます。
いいですね。
はいよ。取った。
180.
はっ、行きましょう。お任せよ。
That's quite unlucky.
トーセイ。
いいですね。
行きましょう。我が封印
That's what
こ
it
れより解
is.
きます。ファイヤ
I should have put it there.
ー。我が顔をそれほど望む
Silly me.
ならば見せよう。呪われし顔を儚く散るまで歌い続けるために。
はい。お任せよ。
It's nice how quickly we can get his MB up though. Arts is just a really solid card type, honestly.
受けます。行きましょう。
いいですね。
トーセイ。
That crit again, I might have died laughing. It might have happened.
総員突撃準備。
Also, I yet again forgot to use his fifth skill.
逃がしはしない。
Bugger.
どうも。
I blame Seed and I because they have the exact same skill emblems. And obviously, her fair skill is purely defensive, whereas his is both defensive and an offensive buff. So I blame her.
これはいいです。はい。束ねる星の息吹。輝ける命の本流。受けるがいい。エクスカリバー。見事な采配です、先輩。
Looks like Heracles is getting rather near another level up. Another bond level up, rather. That's good. Still a long, long road from getting him to away from getting him to Bond 10 and getting his craft distance. Which is when he becomes real Heracles, but we're chipping away at it. Incidentally, besides just getting his own bond up, it's actually really good to get a lot of the units you actually use mostly to high bond levels for the final singularity in Arc 1 of the story, because
行きます。
your units will get
いかがでしょうか。
a lovely bonus
行きます。
to their damage the higher the bond level is,
発揮します。
and we'll just say it's very lovely to have more damage. The more the better, in that one especially. See, I'm glad I did it like this, otherwise that last card would have went into the void.
行きましょう。
Probably better to do it this way.
ファイヤー。セイ。
I don't know.
きます。はい。はっ。やー。取った。
Sure would be nice to get crit out of a lot here,
はっ。お任せよ。
but it isn't to be.
道を開けよ。出陣である。この仮面を脱ぎ、乱領王の証明とする。退け、魔将ども。とう。
Ah, the remarch. As you can see, their HP is very slightly higher than it was the first fight. Otherwise, the fight's pretty much identical. Pretty much identical.
これは人類を守る戦いである。いいですね。束ねる星の息吹、輝ける命の本流。受けるがいい。エクスタイマー。取った。ファイヤー。
輝いてしまおう。
聖剣解放。シェータさん、頑張ります。
This is wasteful, by the way. I'm just showing just how much battery we have available at this point. So, very lovely.
受けます。
いいですね。はい。
ファイヤー。華麗に。華麗に。
You know, let me read his skill actually. Okay. Presumably, since he's NPC Fion,
それがお任せよ。
he has his skill fully ranked up, which means it's a guaranteed bloody evade,
死を照らす命。
as opposed to a chance.
見るがいい。
Fion's a unit that is very strong, but he is very, very reliant on you having his skills maxed out. So do keep that in mind, and he can spook you. So there's a good there's not a terrible chance he can pop up for you sometime. In fact, one big decision. So he and Lambda Lilith are basically your picks for AoE arts lancers. They're both very good. And recently in JP, Percival came out, and he's also really good. So you have 3 options now. All of them can do certain things a bit better than the others, but generally they seem, well, Percival's still so new, people are figuring him out, but the other 2 are quite comparable to each other. Overall. Well, we're just keeping spamming Artoria here. She's getting all kinds of use. And so if you like Theon, he should be rated up on New Year's alongside. Actually, let me check. I don't want to steer you wrong here. See, this will be 2020 New Year, and it will be, yes, the rerun. Something can't. Oh, is that right? Ah, they changed it. The rerun, they changed it. That is an actual shame. So, the New Year event, we're going to get a rerun of last year's New Year event. And then a new New Year's event after that. And so, this year's New Year, you had Benny Enma or Caster Tamamo no Mai. Either of which are very solid units, especially Tamamo. Currently she is the absolute pinnacle art support in the game until Caster Artoria comes out, and then they work splendidly together. But Fionn, either Fionn or Tamacat, could be rated up with either one of the 5 stars. So it could be a really good opportunity to roll for Tamamo and grab Fionn as well. Get a really good art support and a really good AoE arts lancer. Unfortunately, in the rerun, they swap Fionn out for Saber Dionid, who's single target quick saber, which is just lame. I don't know why they didn't leave it Fionn, because that was really good for like new players to. Because New Year always has a start dash campaign going on. They give new players a lot of shiny stuff to roll with, so they could stand a really good chance of getting a copy of Tamamo and a couple copies of Fionn. That'd get them a really good art support and a strong arts DPS unit. So it's a shame they swapped that out for the mismatch arts quick. However, not too awful long after that, there's going to be a download campaign in February, so the next month, where Escargot comes back as the 5-star and Fionn is the rate up 4-star. So that's a very lovely banner to roll on. In fact, my Escargot's MP3, so there is temptation there to wonder if I could snag a couple more copies of her, because I think that's her last solo raider to this point in time, is that banner. But so that's actually one of my big decisions that admittedly I'm still a bit torn on, is because Lambda and Fionn are pretty much neck and neck unit wise, and they both do quite similar things. He provides a little bit more team support, whereas she's a bit more offense, just pure offense, and actually kind of hurts your team a bit because she drains MP from them to juice herself up.
いいですね。お任せよ。
So there's a part of me that's quite torn on. Maybe I should hold off and then roll for try to snag a copy, try to get in B5 with Resh. And copies of Fiona as well. But that's all things being equal, and I just frankly really like Lambda quite a bit. Or Melt Lilith in general, for whatever reason. Whereas Fiona I'm fairly indifferent on. I don't like him, don't dislike him.
総員突撃準備。シェータさ
Yet again, I forgot to use skill 1.
よしよし。
ん、この道に
Oh well, I was saving it for this point. It's believable, isn't it? You know, I'm actually going to do this.
我が
それがお任せよ。
これより解きます。
This will get her more
我が顔を
refund
それほど望むか
and an arts lead off for her arts card to get extra refund as well.
儚く散るまで
If provided it didn't just her MP doesn't just kill everyone, which it should.
この明かりの星の希望。死を照らす命の証。見るがいい。
Probably. If in doubt.
まだまだ未熟ですね。
Just keep those hero proofs coming. We need 11 more for Ku, as well as 2 more feathers. I don't know how we're going to sneak those. Now, since they're giving away Geostarn of Blood, I bet there's a Gazer coming up. So that's something to keep an eye out for. I think we go back to slapping them with berserkers for this kind of node. I actually think we'll finish this chapter and then we'll wrap up after that because I'm feeling quite peckish.
修羅になるわ。ステータス頑張ります。叩くわ。
We'll see how I feel after we get to that point. Probably better to do this. Actually, we need to do this as well. Give us some extra stars per turn.
叩くわ。行くわ。修羅になるわ。 羅刹と化すわ。シールドエフェクト発揮します。それね、ドイツ行くわ。はっ。うわー。手触りよ。音がしね。
Bet you didn't know Jolter was an AoE unit.
シリアクタと化せ。修羅になるわ。
He's in B5, so he should be alright, but there is the off chance. Because his MP isn't upgraded. A lot of people underestimate just how big a difference that MP upgrade makes. So, well, okay. I think I've said this before, but just as a refresher, an MP upgrade at MP2 is the equivalent of a non-upgraded MP at MP5. And that's not even counting any added effects the upgrade also added on top of, which a lot of them do add extra effects. Like Ishtar's, for example, will generate, I think, 20 stars, 20 or 25, every time she uses her MP to set up her big, approximately all of the damage crit in the next run through. What do I want to use for this? Why, there's assassination. It makes me sad that they like her enough to grail her, but they only got one copy of it. I feel bad for them. Guess we'll go with Gramps. Yeah, should be fine. Oh yeah, Scarhar's here. I really like Scar. Quite like it. It's just she gets rated up typically on New Year's, at the very least. So she does get rated up fairly consistently. So you will have shots at her. She's not one of those units that only comes up in the blue moon. But in my case, at least, it's a bit unlucky because I just, when it comes to other things I've decided to roll for, doesn't leave any. So far, I haven't really had any room to justify rolling for her. Incidentally, though, next year, during the big download campaign, where we get all kinds of shiny stuff, including the 5-star ticket for a non-limited 5-star. During that event, Ishtar will be available, Musashi will be available, on roll. You can't ticket them, of course, because they're all limited. Gilgamesh will be available, Kintoki will be available, Scarha will be available, and Brynhilde will be available. Now, Bryn's another one. I actually really like her and Scarha. And Bryn's really solid now after her buffs. Very solid. She's got a buffed MP. She does single target buster MP. Does bonus damage to beloved enemies. So you may have looked on traits of certain servants and seen Brynhilde's beloved on various units. So that means she'll do a large amount of bonus damage to them. She has decent party support for crits and the like as well. Eventually she will get her own MP battery as well. So she's got a lot of team support, a lot of good damage, bust, crit, what's not to love. Really pretty design, lovely colors. And Skaha is single target quick, who very survivable, as you would expect from Ku's teacher. Got a nice 110 evasion. Now, she does get. Her first skill is a bit wonky because it gives. Yeah, I will just post a page for anyone who wants to give her a look-see. Her first skill is a bit wonky right now because it provides three things. Well, it guarantees a 110 of evasion, so she's got hard survival, and then an 80% chance to increase her crit damage for 3 turns by 50%, and an 80% chance to increase her crit star absorption for 3 turns. Now, obviously, if she's solo, you really just want the top one to hit. But she gets an upgrade on her second skill, which is right now a targetable 110 50% crit up, quick up rather, to 110. It gets upgraded to also increase buff success rate up by 20%, and there's a 20% battery, so she can. So it's basically a quick version of Lon Lean's second skill, is what it becomes, which is really nice because it guarantees her first skill and gives her a little bit of battery, 20%. That's really lovely. And then her third skill is a 110 100% damage up against divine enemies and 100% damage up against undead enemies, both for a turn. And then she's got an upgraded MP, which stuns an enemy and then deals a lot of damage, and it has an instant kill chance as well, which is just like Ku's. It's not the most important thing in the world. So she's a very lovely unit as well. Got hard survivability and a evade. Then her MP has a stun. She can get her MP back pretty quickly because she generates a lot of stars because she's so quick focused. And of course, you get some crits on those arts cards, and that MP gauge starts shooting back up with really quickly. And then if she's in her particular damage niche against divine and undeads, which covers a lot of categories. There are a lot of enemies that fall into either of those categories. She really hits like a truck. What are we doing here? So yeah, I really like both of those units, and both of them will get solo raid ups on that particular download campaign. If there was one, it's not really a negative, because again, just because there are other units that also do this similar thing doesn't mean suddenly this unit's garbage. Like, unlike the nonsense hyperbole you saw of people whining when Castor Toria came out, oh, now Tomomo's dead. No, she's still just as amazing as she was before. It's just now you have another art support that's also really bloody strong. And they work well together. It's nonsense. But in Scar's case, it's like, well, if you grill the coup up, they're both survivable, single target, quick damage dealers. Or lancers, rather. Damage dealing lancers. Bit redundant, but. I'm gonna do this just to show Gramsol. So yeah, for example, I'm obviously not going to roll, unable to roll for her on my main account because I'm trying to, currently planning on trying to get a copy or two of Mordred, and then add yet another copy with the ticket, probably. On my main. And then roll for Castor Artoria during Anniversary. And then afterwards, I haven't the bloody clue. I haven't really thought that far ahead, to be fair, for next year. From what I recall, I don't think there was anything that really struck my fancy for my main account, at least. However, I think next year, towards the end, is going to be an event where Skaha gets another rate up, and her buff, and her costume. So, that could be... It may be the year after, though, when that happens. Oh, I'm confusing myself. Hold on. Suppose I could just... I feel like they waste Scar a lot here as well. They talk her up a lot. It's kind of like Nero and Septim, where they talk her up a lot, but at least in Nero's case, she doesn't really do anything. And just lore-wise, she really shouldn't be doing much of anything because Nero's alive and not a servant in Septim, which means she should be getting absolutely wrecked by any of the other servants. Of the actual servants, rather. Instead of getting talked up as much as she is on that one. But Skaha, she fares a bit better at least. She actually does things, it's just more off-screen things for the most part. In this one. Okay, look, actually, it's bugging me. I need to check. So, 2020. It should be... So if we follow Japan's schedule, the Mordred banner should be before that big download campaign where we get the ticket. Next year's actually going to have some pretty sparse. Okay, yes. Skaha's big event where she gets her her animation update, her buff, and her cute costume, her cute bunny girl costume, is next year, which means, oh, there you go. Fiona will be available there. Oh, so that double gives me balls. Oh, well, no. It's rough because the single target quick servants. I already have Ku, and I have bloody MP5 Medusa Lily on my main, so I already have single target quick lancers, 2 of them, all fully leveled and kitted out and the like. So, did you like the AoE Jolter? How about a repeat? How about a rerun? So yeah, there are 3 4-stars that can be rated up with her, and it's Fionn, Saber Diamond, or Tarmacat again. I might actually roll for that just to get more copies of Tarmacat, because she was my starter servant on my main, and if you'll recall, we have her on this account as well. She was the starter servant of this account as well. It's just technically Heracles came with her on the starter roles. And so it'd be, just for nostalgia's sake, be nice to get her and B level up. Because she's a really solid unit after her buffs. Before she was buffed, she was dreadful. Her MP would not hit very hard, and then she would stun herself, and it was just dreadful. But now she invulns her own stun. Her MP's upgraded, so it does solid damage now. Her defense up gets a buff as well. Has she gotten that yet? She gets some hard survival on her second skill. Gives herself some nice max HP up. And she recovers her HP every turn for 3 turns after using her MP. So she actually becomes fairly tanky, and her damage is solid because, again, she's a solid berserker. She's got an upgraded MP. And she's just cute as a button. You can't hate on the cat. So yeah, I think right now I might actually, after hopefully getting Castor Autoria, aim for rolling for that banner when it comes up next year on my main. We'll have to see though. As for this account, I need to figure out what banners I'm actually targeting for next year on this account. gut instinct right now is to go for Canis when she drops. So she's the 4-star on the radar. She's technically an AoE Lancer, but she's very crit focused, so she's pretty much single target. Or she's effectively both, really. Incidentally, actually, I'm just too lazy to, honestly. I would switch her to Painting Summer or 50% starting C. 10-9-9. Was there another Orchida? Yeah. This is 10-10-10. So in this case, this is quick focused starting, but it's full attack stat wise. This one's MP2 as well. And Drunken Jolter is a very lovely C. This was a welfare C from an event. Unfortunately, it was before I started playing, so I missed getting this one, which is a real shame. Gives you a very good crit strength and MP strength up, and it's full attack. It's a really good craft essence. So hopefully they will start making the really good event craft essences available for players again in the Rare Prism shop. This one and Golden Sumo, they definitely need to make available. Definitely. Okay. Meet Li Xuan. He's a very strong single target art lancer. However, I would say Nagao comes out on top in the comparison. But you can't go wrong with either one, and is he story locked? Hold on here. Yes, he is story locked, unfortunately. So he can be a bit annoying to get. He doesn't get raid ups very often either, I'm pretty sure. Story locked is such a buzzkill, honestly. And what's probably going to happen here is he's going to evade, which is annoying, but hopefully he doesn't. Okay, luckily he just gave himself double sure hit for some reason. Luckily no one ever claimed him to be smart.
処置
I think he may be dead. Just maybe.
一歩二歩向け三歩絶倒無用そんなに羅刹と化すわ戦闘終了
Oh, back on the Skaha thing. I actually have to give DW some decent credit there. Because by the way they did her buff on her second skill, really buffed. Again, it was pretty much a buff to 2 skills. Because it guaranteed her first skill, which is really something she needed. And it gave her a battery, which is also something that she needed. So it was actually a really well done buff. So kudos to them. Okay. Based on that having a horn, here's where we will meet the Bicorn enemy type. Probably. Since this is 2 fights, we'll go ahead and do this before wrapping up. But oh, actually, let's check something. Yeah, see, her attack is not that scaled to 90. Is not that far off hers. In fact, yeah, that's level. Okay, so 12,556. Yeah, they're not even 200 points difference. And she's going to cost less. Because she's a 4-star as opposed to a 5-star. Now, I don't know why I'm comparing them. Because this one's AoE, this one's single target, they do completely different things. But I just thought that was amusing how, attack-wise, they're so comparable despite 4-star versus 5-star. Yeah, she's leaning towards HP in that regard. Speaking of the AoE Buster Berserkers, it's going to be very rough deciding how to roll 2 years from now when the current servants are released, the Fey Knights of the Round Table and Morgan. Because I quite like all of those. It's like, oh no, what do I do? That's why I was initially thinking maybe after, well, hopefully getting Castor or Toria on the anniversary, just saving absolutely everything all the way until the next year. But we'll see. We shall see. Actually, next 2 years from now, if you're a fan of Knights of the Round Table in general, you're going to be having a good time. Well, maybe you're going to be spoiled for choices on what to roll for because they're all going to be available, all of them, except Bedivere. Strangely, they didn't put Bedivere on the banner where all the Knights of the Round Table got buffs and animation updates and all that. It's kind of strange. They just didn't have a radar 3-star, or they could have easily had him on radar. Wonder why they didn't do that. Honestly, it's probably something as simple as they just didn't think of it. It's not like it was going to affect them monetarily to put him on there or not put him on there. Probably. If anything, I think Bedivere is quite popular. It's a good lad. Well, kids, I think it's that time again. Everybody's favorite game of Ayuri Jota. Maybe she is comparable to Riker after all. Ah. That was a shame. That was on. Wait, did I not use a second skill or something? Did I muck up? Because that's weird. She should have easily killed that. Oh well. Things to break sometimes. There must have been a hell of a lore roll on that damage. Because she should have done that pretty consistent. Of course, again, this one's 10 levels lower than the one I'm used to using. Which is a difference. Oh well. I don't even know why I cast that. I don't think it's going to affect any of these. Alright, I think this is similarly to the Gazer. It's our first whack at a Bicorn enemy. I don't even think we saw one in the event. I don't remember one. I remembered the fair skill this time. It's a miracle. It pains me not to use that art card, but must be done. Incidentally, since I have this pulled out, Hero Proofs and Bones, that's lovely. It's the Skaha event is a lottery event, and it's got some very lovely stuff in there. It has feathers, eternal gears, hero proofs, and bones. So that's definitely one you want to munchkin those fruits on.
はっお任せを承知とう
That's some lovely MP game. And here's a bicorn. They have an ability where they can lower your card damage, your quick damage for 3 turns. Their version of an NV deals heavy damage and stuns, and it stuns whoever they hit. And generally they hit pretty hard. So they can surprise you if you're not careful.
敵をうまく鋭く
Well, it didn't help very much. Oh well.
受けます我が危険の処置ファイヤー一歩二歩二歩向け三歩絶倒無用三段抜け我が主いかがでしたかさあ勝ち時を上げよ
And as you might expect, they drop these horns, which again are not used very often, but a few lancers use some. Thankfully not in large numbers, but they are something that's used. Let's see, 49. 5 fights. I guess we could do 5 fights. Because I don't think we're going to get another level up within those 5 fights. Although we might be getting close. I actually haven't been paying attention. Actually no, I think we'll wrap up like we said. Just because it's getting
戦闘ですマスター指示
getting hungrier.
じゃあまあぶっ放すかね
ステータス頑張
And we're starting to get dangerously close to the point where, oh well, we're so close to the end. Might as well make it a 6-hour stream. Probably shouldn't do that.
固く縛るわ
任せな
やるわ
Somebody stops upon my channel, looks at the watch, it's like, oh, maybe I'll watch this FGO wait 6 hours. Because oddly some people don't like longer streams. I quite do personally, but
任せな
other people are strange like that.
そら
Detrimental crit.
でもま
任せな
厳しくいくわやるわ飛びかけてあげる
These things, as you can tell, have high hit counts, so they actually charge your gauge fairly quickly,
でもま厳しくいくわ
which is amusing.
やるのだわ
そら
そこ動かない
Oh, another large lad.
死の女神エルシキガルが命じますいい度胸ね気に入ったわいいわでもま 私バルは
Could have put the arts card there for maximum MP gain, but
冥界の守りを知りなさい
she should be able to. Yeah.
取り込めてあげるやるわ
なんだよあっけね
I repeat, the rescue girl's a good unit. If they ever do buff and give her an MP buff, it's going to be absurd. Because it's one of those things where, even if the unit's really strong, yeah, like Resk is definitely a popular unit. She's a very popular character in general. But it's just like Okida, where she's already really bloody good. Or Nero Bride is a perfect example. She was already at the best single target saber in the bloody game, and then people just, let's be honest, they didn't know how to use her, so they whined about her being bad, and DW keeps buffing her, despite her already being insanely strong. Oh, we have. We'll end with an FP10 roll, I guess. Let's see if we can finally get Arsico. No. Wow. Bugger. How many summons do we have? 4?
ようこそダヴィンチちゃんの今日から
What am I doing?
今日ものんびり始めようか
This
カイ
one's
サルさんがまた精で達成感が小さなことかお一人様ご案
We
内
have 5 summons.
ゆっくりしていってくれたまえ
Hmm.
今年も折り返しが終わりま
Guess you wouldn't it? Are 2 summons still bonus? What is this? When did we roll that? I don't remember doing that. Well, let's see what happens. We'll get the bonus. Hydra Dagger. Oh, another Uriel. I think we already have an MP5. How about that? All my fever. Or ha.
水着に着替えたら不思議なことに修行時代の私に近づいてしまったようです。クラマの山では遊びこそが修行であると教えられました。故にこれが今の聖堂。主様、牛若といっぱい遊んでくださいますようお願いします。
Well, that's just funny. Also, she's absolutely precious. Okay, here's a servant. So, why is... Come on, Ku. Ah, bugger. It's a shame, but it's just the way it goes sometimes. You see the rings up like around here? If there are 3 of them, it's going to be a 7. If there are 2 of them, it's going to be a command code. If there's 1 of them, it's going to be a CE. And then also the amount of lightning. generated. Uh,
お一人様
can
取り
tip
返し
you
は
off
つかないものだ
as to what
扱いには気をつけてね
is going on in that regard. Let's get those the
ま
old
だ出て
bear.
いくかい
Come to think of
そう
it,
私も張り合いがあるってものさ
since I'm done with the event, I can start burning the leftover event CEs. So we actually have a lot of mana prisms available there. Or can use them to juice up another CE bomb, which is probably the better use for them, honestly. Those important to keep. These are worthless though.
ようこそダヴィンチちゃんの今日からボへ
I was right, MP5. I definitely don't mind leveling her after we get Robin and David sorted. Of course, Billy's also an option. He's very handy. He's got a 50% battery. He's got sure hit, upgraded MP, all lovely stuff. Now, Uriel is highly overrated by the player base, generally, as you must drop everything to level her, or you'll never get through Camelot, kind of stuff. But again, her niche is anti-male, so against female enemies, she's not going to be particularly useful. Her charm won't work, and her MP. Now it's still an upgraded MP, so it's going to be, you know, it's not going to be wet noodle damage, but it's not going to light the world on fire either. I'm actually kind of happy we got this, because I don't feel like, because Fuma, if you'll notice, we don't have a single copy of Fuma, and it took me an eternity to get a copy of Fuma on my main as well. He just despises me for whatever reason, so I will be content with Ushi. Now, her MP's not going to hit very hard at all with MP1, unfortunately, so it'd be nice if that's why I threw the rest of the rolls in, just for YOLO's sake. In fact, let me see.
そろそろクエストに戻る
This banner should end very shortly. 28. Yeah, the 28th. Okay, so tomorrow we might be able to stream again. I'll have to see. And we will get more Saint Courts, and then we'll roll on this banner a bit more and hope for another 4-star. Because honestly, getting either of those at MP2 would be lovely. We would prefer Ushi though, because again in October we'll have more shots at Ibaraki, which is my current plan for this account. But the actual serious, we're going to save up, and we're not gonna be dummies. We're not gonna just throw a roll for kicks and giggles like we've been doing. It's going to be next year for sure. I just really need to look over and figure out what I'd want to target. My current plan, my current thinking is Canis though, because I really like Canis. I mean, Mordred's my favourite character, so those two have a bit in common. just a bit. Again, this is unfortunately story locked, so if you don't get it on a radar banner, it can be a bit of a thing afterwards. So yeah, I think that'll do it for this stream.
ダヴィンチちゃんの素敵な工房マナプリズムと交換する
Also, we're going to get a refreshed mana prism shop
品物を紹介しよう
soon, as you can tell. We'll get more tickets and more foes. Of course, we don't have nearly enough mana prism. We have enough for tickets because 5 tickets for 100 total. And those are the most important thing. You always want to grab the shop tickets because I mean it's 5 free summons. Yes, I know it's a shop, but you didn't pay money to get mana prisms. All you did was play the bloody game.
まだ見ていくかい
So it's free. But alright, so next time, should be able to stream tomorrow, we will, I guess, see if we can't finish America and throw whatever St. Courts we get on this banner, however we end up. And then, after that, it'll be time for the next event. Of course, probably won't stream the initial day because the way maintenance goes, it'll be a bit sketchy time-wise before maintenance ends and you can actually play the event, but we'll get to it when we're able to, as soon as we're able to. So, till then, hope you enjoyed and see you next time.